Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel for day 1052 of our daily content grind, and it is a very rare news roundup because I'm recording it on Sunday. Normally I wait until the day of to record news roundup because there's always things that come in on a Monday for me to talk about, so I want to be as up to date as possible. I'm going to be occupied Monday though, so we're doing it today. We're also doing it here at the toy shop because this is the time I have available to actually record this. So we are going to go into all the stuff that happened at San Diego Comic-Con that wasn't officially announced by Hasbro, as well as all the other things that popped up, of course, over the course of the week, because there's a lot. And we mentioned during the San Diego event, during the San Diego talk, but the big thing that came out that was not a part of San Diego Comic-Con was the fact that we now know what Studio Series Commander class is going to be done in 2025, and it is a 2-pack of Long Haul and Hook. The computer listing showed up to confirm it. So they announced a Devastator that was going to be part of Studio Series 86, that it's going to be released all within 2025. And we know from the computer listings what the sizes of everything are going to be. We know that Scrapper and Mixmaster are going to be Voyager class. We know that Bone Crusher and Scavenger are going to be Deluxe. And we now know that these two are going to be a Commander set. They've never done anything like that. They've never done a multi-pack Commander class before. I'm really curious as to how it's going to turn out. Like, if it's going to be worth buying just on its own, or if it really is just being released for the sake of completing your Constructicons. Because the report on the floor is that the combined Devastator is going to be about the size of Menasor, which would tell me that the individual characters are going to be largely deluxe in size, because you're still going to want all the Constructicons to be roughly the same size in robot mode. So looking at these guys and trying to imagine how this combiner is going to go, it feels like I'm confusing my combiners now. It feels like Mixmaster and Scrapper are going to end up being Voyagers via complexity, the same way that Ironhide and Ratchet are in the Studio Series. You know, smallish Voyagers, but very dense in parts because they have to do a lot. They're going to be the legs. They need articulation. They might have to be the thighs. They might have to contain the thigh portions the way they did for Predaking. We don't know yet. We have no idea. All they did was tell us it's going to happen. We have no physical manifestation of these toys just yet to know exactly how this Devastator is going to come together. But I know a lot of people weren't happy with the Combiner War one because weird proportions, weird articulation, lack of accessories, etc. Feels like this release is going to fix all of that and give us this nice version of the Constructicons. And it's been long enough. It's about due for a new set. So that's kind of an exciting thing. By the way, just to wrap this up, I am expecting both of these to be like Deluxe Plus style Voyager toys. Normal, deluxe size, maybe a little bit larger, and then very dense in part count for the complexity of the transformation and combination. And then I expect them to include all the extra Devastator parts you need. Heads, forearms, fists, guns, wing, etc. All of that is part of like the extra $20 that you're going to need to fill out for a Commander class. That's where my head is right now. So we will see. We've got a long way before we find out anything about them, so fingers crossed. Let's go overseas. An event in Hong Kong actually showed off this Transformers 1 Optimus Prime, and you're thinking like, we've seen these toys, right? It's the Studio Series, but it's not. One, because the construction's a lot more solid on this one. There's no hollow parts from any angle that we can see from this display. You'll also notice the proportions are a little bit better. The matrix of leadership is visible inside his chest. He's got the Optimus Prime faceplate on. There's a lot to the toy that is not present in the current ones that Hasbro has announced. That is because this one is a little bit different. You see there in the vehicle mode, nice dense vehicle, looks nice and solid. But what makes this weird is, he's big. You know, that is the Voyager Soundwave. That is the Netflix Soundwave. Actually, the Dramatic Capture Soundwave, if we're being very specific here. It's that Soundwave next to him, and look how big he is. And that is with Soundwave standing straight up and Optimus Prime having kind of a hunched, knee bent position. That's a leader class. That is a leader class Transformers 1 Optimus Prime, and it looks pretty spectacular. I'm really excited and curious if this is just, Takara doing their own thing again with these toys. Because really, what's being done for Transformers 1 in the US, yeah, we're getting studio series, but a lot of it, even that, seems like it is geared toward kids that are going to be watching the movie. So I would really like to hope that Takara gives us something that's a little bit more advanced, a little bit more special. We will find out for ourselves. Let's see what else we got here. Also, something else this is Hasbro Asia, technically, so something from Takara we can go ahead and look at. There is a full video up demonstrating the Adamus Machina. I'm just trying very hard to remember how to pronounce it. The Adamus Machina Rodimus. And it's a really good, nice look at it in full range. It's all CG, just to show you all around the toy. Only very few actual shots of it, but it shows you the full transformation sequence. And what I think is interesting is that even though this toy has the paint and the die cast and the size of a Masterpiece release, it's the die-cast element that Masterpiece is lacking that makes it different. It's the, most Masterpiece these days is lacking die-cast. But it's the level of complexity in the engineering and the sculpt and the design. The design's way more intense than a Masterpiece, but that doesn't translate to the transformation. The transformation is actually looking pretty smooth and intuitive. Like, it's not doing anything terribly unnecessary, and it's forming Rodimus's vehicle mode pretty well. So go take a look at it. The narration's also just nice, calm, anime girl voice style. It's a nice watch, and it's fascinating just to see how this toy works. Like, just seeing the transformation working in 3 dimensions, that alone is kind of cool. I wish they did that more often. Moving on, this weird thing got announced by Takara as well. So yeah, this is Missing Link's Sentinel Prime. You go, what? Why did they repaint it? Why? Why? There's so many repaints of G1 Optimus Prime you could have pulled for, and the first one you do for Missing Link is the most random yellow knockoff looking Optimus Prime you could possibly pick. I don't understand it. Someone picked up on the fact that the original broadcast version of Transformers in Japan was really washed out with muted color tones. So when they show the scene of Optimus Prime, or actually Teletran 1, scanning the vehicle that would become Optimus Prime, it does have a yellow tint to it, because all the red has been completely washed out. In the US version, the DVD releases and all that, even you go back to the old VHSs, the US version shows him being red, just like Optimus Prime. This is just if this is based on a weird, trick of the original Japanese animation, that's a really, really weird pull. Suffice to say, it seems like it's also somewhat based on the Titans Return take on Sentinel Prime, the more modern, IDW take, which is absolutely where they get the red in the face. It's a really weird release that I'm not really behind at all. It's just odd. They also showed off the Super Link, Arms Micron Super Starscream, or rather Thundercracker here in the US. This is not being offered in the US. I think Pulse might get it as an exclusive, but as of now, there's no planned release for Armada Starscream's repaints in America, which is weird. They showed off their Nemesis Prime. Likewise, this is going to be Asia exclusive or Japan exclusive. I think there might be pre-orders on Pulse again at some point. That's just because a lot of the exclusives get a limited amount on Pulse these days. And for some reason they're also offering this flat gray version of the Starscream throne, just in case you want a Megatron colored one, I assume. Little odd. But yeah, that's Sentinel. I have no idea what they're thinking. None. See, Takara also showed off their brand new Earthspark Wave 5s. These are in hand, so we get to see how nice the color scheme and paint jobs are. I believe this is not the Warrior. I want to say this is the deluxe mold. And I could be wrong because I haven't looked at either of them in a long time. Oh no, no, no! This is absolutely the deluxe because the elbows are hinged rather than ball jointed. You can see the colors are a lot richer than they are on the one that we've seen from the U.S. version so far. They're a lot more metallic. The paint apps are a lot nicer. Like, he looks nice. He looks really nice. Like, I really like Earth Spark. So if you really want your Terrans, like, you got to go with Takara to get the really accurate ones, which kind of feels like how it was back in the day. It's kind of nostalgic to see Takara just take the current cartoons toys and just make them better than Hasbro did. It's been a long time since we had that. But yeah, Jawbreaker's looking good. Jawbreaker's looking good. I would like to pick him up given the chance. Yep, and here we have the brand new take on hashtag, which I believe in the US, this is, I really want to say in the US, this is actually a warrior class toy. In the US, it also has the port on top, so you can do the Energon Powerlink style thing that they're going for with the warrior class toys moving forward. Kind of weird that they did without the gimmick, but it comes across with a much cleaner version of hashtag. It's nice of her to get a toy. I'm actually not terribly huge on Takara's color scheme for this one. She's far more indigo or blue than she is purple like she is in the show. This one does not scream accurate. This one feels like a random repaint. Like if you wanted to do like an Earthrise Jolt or something and just decided to repaint hashtag from purple to blue, this is what Jolt would look like. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm not terribly big on this one either. I'm hoping it's just like the photographer just like screwing up their color settings, because I want these Terrans as good as they can be. Like, I really want a really good full set of Terrans, even if they all have to be deluxe. Instead of like Voyager and Leader and like all that. It's disappointing that Takara went so different on the color scheme. I assume it's because of Aftermath here also being a purple truck, so they might not have wanted to cross the streams on that one. And Aftermath looks fine. The Takara version on Aftermath doesn't really look too different from the Hasbro version to me. Granted, I've never looked at them side by side, but nothing stands out of like, oh, the Hasbro version didn't do that. He still looks nice, though. It still looks fine. I don't know if I'm going to go out of my way to grab him or not from the Takara release, but cool to see it offered. And then, yeah, the Alita one, we've seen this one in hand. This one I definitely think Takara could have done a little bit better on the vehicle mode paint job. You can see the windows on the sides are not painted on either the US or the Japanese versions, which is weird. They did go through the trouble of remolding her arms, so she actually does have two normal arms rather than that stupid little flip-out gun that doesn't really look good. Yeah, and again, she is a much better representation of what Alita 1 looks like in the cartoon. So I might be swayed to that one. It's not a great toy, but with Earthspark getting canceled and seemingly like Hasbro just kind of giving up on it, I'm just kind of thankful these are getting out at all. So I'll take what I can get in this case. Yeah, there's the Warrior. It's way different in size. In beast mode, in robot mode, somehow they look almost the same height. How did they do that? All right, let's move on. Not going to spend too long on this because I've done a whole video on Commander Optimus Prime from Studio Series. Yeah, it's in hand now, so that you can go and see all the small little changes and nuances and little things that the toy does and get a feel for the transformations. And yeah, it's a really complex and involved toy. Hey, look, the feet actually transform into something that looks like they're trying to actually hide. I'm proud of you, feet. You've done good. Yeah, I also like that they're trying to make that look as flat as possible. I like covering up that gap that covers the thighs that are usually exposed in the vehicle mode. It's a lot more thoughtful. So yeah, yeah, there's plenty of new shots. Look how many steps. Look how many steps. He's a complex boy. He is a complex boy. All right, let's get into something that was announced at San Diego Comic-Con. That is not part of like the new reveals technically, because they showed off the prototype for Omega Prime, but then there was this black and red Titan Master just like hanging out with it, and everyone kind of took notice. So according to Evan on the floor, this is meant to be Cerebros from RID, just as a quick little like surprise bonus in the pack for Omega Prime. really cool that we got that one little extra bit. You know, that's not something that's ever going to like turn heads or, you know, get you to buy something if you go, oh, we're throwing it in. Like here's your tier 3. It's a Titan Master. So they threw it in as a surprise instead, which is a nice one. I assume it's just the one from Fortress Maximus repainted. I don't see any other reason why you would do otherwise. But according to Evan, this is mostly so you have something to use the little gimmicks on Omega Prime right out of the box. You know, like the little stations on the battle emplacement mode, or the bucket in the ladder. That gives you something to actually use those features and have someone actually, you know, at the helm of them. Okay, fair enough. It's a nice little inclusion to throw in. You know, it's just a freebie. We'll do some Transformers 1 news because a lot of stuff is coming out. Yeah, because we had whole interviews and everything. And then Bonaventura being an idiot. I heard from like someone interviewed Bonaventura and he didn't indicate that this was like a different universe. He indicated like this is a different thing. It's an all new fiction. From what I was told by a friend who went to the actual panel for Transformers 1, he was trying to make it sound like it was a prequel to the live action movies. Here's the thing. Both of you are probably correct because Bonaventura just talks out his rear all the time and going from like this is the guy who was trying to figure out that he was telling media outlets that the Bumblebee movie was a sequel, a prequel, a spin-off, a reboot, like all at once. And every interview he had a different answer because the guy's trying to cover every base, and you know it's dumb. The man needs to shut up. For our actual physical things we can actually look at, the prop for the movie is on display. Obviously, it's an animated movie, so props don't exist. But it is kind of cool that for promotional purposes, they actually did make a full-size Matrix of Leadership signed by the cast, I assume. Who is it signed by? Does it actually tell me? No. One-off, not for sale, just done for the Hasbro panel. Yeah, and it doesn't say who signed it, and I can't tell from here. I don't know celebrity interviews or autographs, so you can deduce that one for yourself. It's a cool prop, though. I do like the prop. Speaking of, we do have a new range of posters, which are showing a different side of the movie. I really like this idea because here's Orion with the silhouette of Optimus Prime behind him. And here's the flip side. The bot on the ground is actually flipped around to show like it's Optimus and Megatron standing on either side. That's a really cool idea for a poster. And now they're showing a lot more of the Megatron side of things. Yeah, so he might play a bigger role in this as on the villain side than I expected. I'm looking forward to the movie. I'm going to be in San Diego when the movie comes out. I'm still trying to figure out if I can go to it or not on opening day. We do have new toys for it that we can show off, though. So 3-0 showed off their MDLX figures for Transformers 1, and it is the core cast, of course it is. Nothing really announced for these things. They're still all like gray prototypes outside of Orion packs, but cool to see that we're getting some high-end action figures of them. 3-0 showed off a lot of things, most of which we've already talked about on News Roundup, so I'm not really going to go into it in like great detail, but yeah, there's a lot of really cool photos of the stuff that they've got coming up. If you want to take a closer look at it, there's the 3D printed prototype for Lockdown. Yeah, it's a cool display. I mean, they do really good stuff. So you can go take a closer look at that if you would like. We are sourcing this from TFW 2005, by the way, so you can go over there to take a look. We also have Yolopart getting into the mix. Of course, they showed off their AMK model kits for Transformers 1. Yeah, they had a whole bunch of there for sale on display. I believe that if you wanted like super advanced early copies, you could even get Ape-Link while you were there. And yeah, they showed off their range. They're doing Elita, B-127, Orion Pax, Megatron. Yeah, it's a really cool set. It's a cool set. It's cool to see. Just you're gonna have so many options available to you for this particular movie. I also note that they are doing like cog and cogless versions of the toys. I don't know if that's going to be an all-in-one bundle and like one box will let you build both, or if they're going to be separate figures. Don't know the details on that one. Just know that they've had, they do have both versions of Elite on display right here. That you can tell slight differences between the two. Yeah, they got multiple Megatrons as well. There's the Bumblebee. Yeah, I don't see alternate parts to make like Bumblebee with his cog. So these might be just individual releases here. Yeah, cogless, cogless, cogless. Yeah, there's our cogged Megatron and Optimus. Yeah, Yellow Park makes good stuff. So no, I'm happy that they're continuing on. These look good. These look good. Not to be outdone by themselves, they also released the official images for their AMK Pro Starscream, following up on their Megatron and Optimus figures. These are similar to their AMKs in size, but these are more complex die-cast parts, more robust construction, light effects. And for Starscream seems to be limited to the eyes, whereas the others had it for guns. Yeah, and a really extensive, really good paint job. I was really happy with these. When the ones that I have been able to experience, they're really, really good toys. Like really, really good. Of course, no transformation, but just as far as being good action figures of the characters, yeah, it's some of the best we've ever gotten. Especially for the price point. So yeah, Yellow Park continuing to put in the work. Good to see that these are continuing, because there's a lot of characters I would eventually like to get in this style. One more weird one from the Hong Kong Toy Show, because Flame Toys showed off their new Kurokarakuri figure, and it's Wingblade Optimus Prime from the final episode of Animated. This is not anything I ever expected them to do. And keep in mind, this is their high-end line. This is going to be like a $400+ figure when it comes out. It's not a model kit or anything. This is just an all-in-one, extremely interesting and cool figure. I never expected someone to do a high-end animated figure. That's insane. Derek, if you're out there, you made it. It's reached the pinnacle. See, they showed off a bunch of things. There's their Bonsai-tron. Weird pull whenever I see someone do a Bonsai-tron. And again, they showed off a lot of their existing product that's available now, and as well as stuff that's about to launch. Yeah, we've seen all of this. We've talked a lot about this in news roundups before. The Die Atlas, I don't remember. That's an interesting one to be doing. Of course, they did Star Saber, so I guess they just have to run the gambit of Japanese leaders. Yeah, and they showed off the Starscream too, which is like a little bit of every really good Starscream, which is cool. I don't know if that's enough to make me drop that money for it, but it is a really, really cool looking Starscream. All right, let's wrap it up with a couple of smaller stories, shall we? Because I'm sure this has already gone really long. Yes, it has. Yes, it has. The Skybound Transformer Comics won a couple of Eisner Awards. It won for the Best Writer/Artist, and it won for Best Continuing Series. That's kind of a big deal. Congratulations. This is still a pretty young comic. It hasn't even been a year yet since we've had these books. We are already winning awards. And yeah, like visually, they are very striking, and story-wise, yeah, like they are very good books. It's good to see that they're being acknowledged outside of just a Transformer fandom, because that's kind of rare for any Transformer media. Cool to see. I'm really happy about it. And then just to give us one weird story for the week, Transformers and Converse announced their collaboration with official images of what they've got down the road. And yeah, it's kind of just like the licensed sneaker stuff you would expect. This is the kind of thing I think I would have bought as a kid, because it really just kind of feels like Converse with Transformer stuff stitched onto it. So like there's a little window with a Megatron picture in it. Okay, fine. There are sandals with, sort of like slip-on shoes with Bumblebee on the front. This is basic stuff. Like, we've seen, like, collector stuff, but this really doesn't feel like collector-oriented. This just... Although I'm sure, like, sneakers these days is going to be different. See, this was more like a collector's run. This one strikes me more like collector's shoe. The Bumblebee sneakers. Do I have a price on these? Do I have, like, any kind of, like, price range or any kind? Okay, yeah. $120, $80, $55. So yeah, those are the youth shoes. $50. So like, it's basically what you're paying for high-end shoes, but it's not that like ridiculous, like super expensive like collector shoe thing. But still, if you need a good pair of sneakers for your big Transformer fans, you got them out there somewhere. And that is going to be our news roundup. So, since this is being recorded on a Sunday, if any late stories on Sunday pop up out of, like last minute things out of San Diego Comic-Con, or if some weird thing happens on Monday that we need to discuss, we will cover it in the following week's news roundup. So, there you go. That's your news for the week. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.